Let me pull it up a bit closer. The idea here is you can create a list of anything you want, and then you can rank it against other items in the list. So, for example, if we look at best Christopher Nolan movies, you're given pairs. I actually haven't seen this movie, so I'm going to hide it for this session, which means I'm not going to taint the list with votes I'm not really sure of. You get given two items over and over and over again, and you pick which one you prefer. I really liked Oppenheimer, but I think I prefer Dunkirk. So then that gets picked, and after a while, you get an ordered list of rankings of all the items in the list based on whoever has voted. So it's a nice way of ranking lists. It's kind of fun, and it beats the inconsistent way of grading out of 10 or out of 5, etc. So I'm going to pick the Prestige here, and I want you to notice that the images take a little bit of time to load up. See, it's not like very snappy. And if we go a bit faster, it'll start to get more prevalent, especially if it's one that we haven't seen before. So we've seen both of these, so it's fine. See, following took about 2 seconds, and I'm not very happy with that. It's not terrible, but it's not perfect. And I think for something like this, it should be very, very snappy. I'm just going to go to a different list completely now, just to show you. So if we go to Best Rapper R&B, see Conway the Machine there, he took like 4 seconds. Jizza took maybe 2-3 seconds, and so on. So what I want to improve here is how fast the images take to load. And to do that, I've been working with a software engineer friend of mine who's been working in the industry for quite some time. And I asked him to run through my code base and just to see what sort of stuff I could do to make it a bit better. And one of the key points he brought up is for the imaging. One, we could do caching, but two, he was talking about how on iOS and for apps like Instagram and stuff like this, they'll load a worse quality image first, and then while the user's looking at the page, the better image will be loaded after. I really like this idea because you can see the image in the background is also like behind a gradient, a dark, kind of darkened gradient. So the image quality doesn't have to be perfect. And if we get a UX boost because of that, I think it's worth the trade-off. So I'm going to explain to Codex what I want to do here and see how it goes. So right now, I believe we load images from our database and we just choose one quality and it loads. And I'm wondering if perhaps the high quality image is taking a little bit too long to load. What I want to do to get around this is I'm okay with loading a worse quality image first, something like 360p around there. And then as the user's on the page, we can improve the quality of the image just so that the snappiness of the image is quite fast. Before we work on this, can you return to me what you think? Is this a bottleneck for our image loading time, or should we be focusing on something else instead? Thanks. Always say thanks to you, but okay. So while consensus is working on that, I'm also going to run another thing. So the way the pairs get chosen to come back to me, it's actually there's an algorithm working in the back end, and what it's doing is it's choosing a pair of items that are close in value together 70% of the time. Then 20% of the time it'll pick two that are maybe 2 quadrants away from each other, and then 10% of the time it's completely random. And every single time you click someone, so I'm going to go with future here. Now future's been chosen. That's all running in the back end right now, so it takes ages to come up. Now, what could be an idea is we only run that, let's say, every 3 picks, 5 picks. So that way it's like nice and snappy for a few goes. and then it's slow. Or what we could do is it like loads 3, and then if a user is waiting for some time like it is now, it loads the next 3 after that. It's not too big of a deal to not have that like kind of ideal selection, especially in a low amount, like a low number of items in the list. So I think it's a worthy trade-off to improve the UX. So I want to go for that. Go with Jay-Z. Love Mac, but Jay-Z's better. Let's see. Right now, when we pick a pair and the next pair is chosen, it's running that ACJ algorithm in the back end to decide what pair to pick. And I believe that's happening every single time someone picks one of the items and a new pair is generated. What I propose is that we reduce the amount of time that we run that algorithm to perhaps one every 5 selections. So it would run and it would give the user 5 different pairs that they can run through, so one after another. And from the user point of view, it seems like it's the same thing as it is right now, but from a backend point of view, we're doing less computation. What do you think of that? I like first asking Codex what they think of a problem, because we don't just want to run ahead and do it. Ooh, one other thing I wanted to do as well. So you can do this keyboard to pick which item. So you can go left keyboard or right keyboard on the arrows to decide which one you want. So let's say I pick Ice Cube. See, it doesn't really have the UX of like, hey, this one was chosen. So you don't even know which one I chose there, but I chose Rihanna. So what I think would be nice is once you pick an item, it kind of indents or highlights a little bit, just so it's like a nice UX feeling of having chosen someone. So I'm going to get that running as well. Right now, when a user picks a pair in pair selection, there's no kind of UX reactionary feeling as to what was selected. So to improve this slightly, I would like that whatever item was chosen in the pair, whether they clicked on it or whether they use the arrows, it doesn't matter. I want that to be slightly indented or highlighted around the outside, just something to show the user that this is the one they picked. It should be subtle but noticeable, and it should give a nice feeling as well. Okay, let's see what the results are like here. Okay, so a low-res version is being loaded, so that's not much of a deal. Yeah, pair fetching a selection, which is the next thing that we worked on. Okay, so let's leave that aside for now, and let's have a look at the pair selection. Ooh, okay, I like this suggestion. So this is what I like about Codex. It's not just saying, let's do what you say. See this second bullet point here, refill buffer continuously after each vote. So what that means is rather than every 5, I have a kind of stale lump. It's just going to always have a bunch in advance loaded. So I like this. I'm just gonna say yeah. And now it's just going to run on that. I want to see how I've improved the image loading, and it's been pretty nice. So first I'm going to go back over the changes I made. So I'm going to zoom this in a bit. So I was working this problem a couple of weeks back, and the first thing I wanted to figure out is what is actually happening when I pick an item in the list, what's happening in the back end. So going through here very, very quickly, once a user clicks an item, there's a handle vote function it's called, and it's basically doing a little check to see is this a valid list that you're voting on, and is this an actual device that you're voting from. It validates that a vote actually happened. It sends that vote to the backend with the device ID, so who voted it, the pair ID, so which pair from the whole list actually got voted on, and which item was won. So if I open up the rankings here, these are the rankings based on the votes. It's not just you win, you go up points. It's kind of chess like Elo. So if you win against someone that's very high rated, you'll gain more points. That gets put over to the database I'm using. And then after that, if there is another pair to be voted on, that pair gets called. And when that pair gets called, it needs to figure out which items from the list it should pull. And I have a little algorithm in the back end that's working to better pick items as opposed to just completely random. It's better to pick items that are kind of close in quality together. The problem I had though was every single time someone clicked on an item, it was calling this function over and over again, and has to go through the whole list, pick the right pair, and then load the images from those pairs. And that can take some time. If you want to flick through the list, you don't want to have to wait too long. You just want to kind of smash out some options, you know? Gonna have a little bit of coffee. So to get around this, I first asked Codex what's actually happening and how long is all of the steps taking as well. I don't want to go through everything here because this is a lot of debugging, but my idea was if I want to improve the time of image loading, I need to figure out where the biggest bottleneck is first. These were the bottlenecks that kind of came up. So first, the UI kind of blanks a bit as the image gets loaded. The prefetch is taking some time, so actually picking what pair to bring up is taking some time. You can sometimes get a duplication pair as well, which is even worse. And also the image readiness, so is the image ready to pop out or not? These take some time to evaluate, and as opposed to focusing on all 12 of the different items that we could fix, it makes sense to focus on these four systematically. So after talking to my buddy, we thought that running that algorithm in the back end every time, it's like a trade-off, right? Yeah, it's nice to have that, but if I need to do that at the cost of reducing the user experience, it's probably not worth that trade-off. So as opposed to running that algorithm in the back end every single time, we thought it might be an idea to just run it once every 5 picks. So that way there's 5 pairs already loaded in the back end, and when you click on an item, it should just pop up straight away. And then as you're voting, if you take a little bit of time on your loading screen to pick a pair, it will automatically prefetch and refill that 5 pair system. And that helped tremendously with the time. A few other things too. I literally just described the problem to Codex with simple English and then said, yes, go ahead and implement. And the last thing I wanted to implement too was like a UX thing. Airports are very good at this, where when you land, as opposed to landing next to where your bags come out, if you checked in your bags, you tend to land a little bit far away and then you have to walk to some place. And obviously there's logistics and airport planning involved there, but also it reduces the time you have to wait at the baggage location to get your bags. That improves your experience because there's less waiting around. Even though you're walking and it's taking the same amount of time, it just means that your journey is more interesting. Disneyland are also very good at this, where Disneyland will make your queue around the place be a bit more interesting. So as opposed to just a straight line going into a venue, there's lots of ducking and weaving, new zones you enter and stuff like this. So I thought doing something like this would be nice, where when we pick an item, it kind of highlights the item a little bit, and that runs for about a second, so that you get satisfaction that you've picked something, you get that reaction, but also it reduces the time that we have to reduce of an image loading because that's happening while you pick. So let's see what this looks like. What list will we go for? I like the wrapping list, so let's go for that. So best rapper slash R&B, Snoop Dogg, Andre 3000. Tough one, tough one, tough one. I mean, Andre is GOAT status. Snoop Dogg's got the more of the kind of mainstream and financial success, but Andre is just Outcast. I love Outcast. So I'm gonna go with Outcast. So that was pretty quick. It kind of highlights a little bit, and new image comes up. If you compare that to the previous version, so much faster. Gonna go with Snoop Dogg here. I'm just gonna start flicking through it. It's still not perfect. It does see sometimes, but wow, the improvement is insane. It's just so much faster. And this is really important for trying to keep people engaged with your platform. You want them to be enjoying it and not lose the flow. It's why TikTok and Shorts and YouTube Shorts are so good at just capturing your attention. There's no downtime in any of the work you're doing. Oh, yeah, I gotta go with Drake here. So I'm just gonna flick through more of them now, and you'll see sometimes it does get a little bit slow, like here, for example. But compared to it being like that every time as it was the case before, now it's only every so often it's doing this. So it's a big UX improvement, and it didn't take too much effort, and there was no infrastructure change as well. So pretty happy with that change. But one more thing too is, and this is something iOS is quite good at too, as opposed to loading the best quality image straight away, what an idea is to load a reduced quality image first, and then as the user's on the page, you replace it slowly with a more higher quality image. This works especially nice for my use case here because there's this kind of dark filter in front of the image. So the image quality isn't that vital the same way it would be on Instagram where the image is everything. For me, it doesn't matter as much. So this helped a little bit with the time as well. It's hard to really see what I'm talking about here, but I'll just click. You'll see a lower quality image first and it replaces with a higher quality image afterwards. Again, it's very hard to see this difference. It's quite subtle. It doesn't make too much of a difference, but it helps a little bit in the back end. If there's a lot of users using it and there's just high quality images loading the whole time, you kind of need to have higher quality infrastructure.